Dena, you damn sus goddess. I love her so much. It just keeps doing this whole back and forth, and I absolutely love it. This writer's so good at just making her completely obvious that she's this goddess, but at the same time just continuing to put on this whole game. This little game that she's playing, obviously puppeteering everybody as Alavinas. But I love it. I love it to death, and I'm never getting enough of it. It's so great last episode bringing up that crap about Beta, and I'm like, oh, hey, there's a possibility. And no, then it's just like, nope, I just made up all that crap. We had literally an entire episode telling about Dena's backstory, and it's all BS. Now, not that it's all BS. I think that there's still a lot within that that's technically true. She just formed the idea of her being a beta tester around that. There was a falsity in there that Lufus was obviously seeing, and it could potentially just be the fact that she's not actually a beta tester. Everything else is true, that it's based off the books and the lore of the world itself and not potentially the game, but Dena herself is the lie within it. And yeah, he's seen that. Wait, a beta tester? If it's based off the books, you shouldn't be in it. But anyways, what was really cool about this episode 11, is that yes, the fight was great. The introduction of Sei was okay. I'm seeing a lot of flagging in this episode around his character, which could actually be really, really cool. The idea that he could potentially become extremely powerful, and he could potentially sacrifice himself. And it could be all around that idea of that justice that he's seeking. But the cool thing in this episode is it's sort of solidifying a theory that I've had for a very long time. Well, it was ever since the backstory of Lufus, and it was sort of built off of this kind of hinting they were doing at Lufus having memories that he doesn't know. Like, what is this memory? I don't remember that happening. Where'd that come from? But it wasn't until the backstory of Lufus the person, when it got into her father and mother and the discrimination and all that kind of crap, I started to solidify my theory more and more, this idea that the reason that he doesn't recall this stuff, and the reason that he doesn't know these stories, is because the world itself is filling in the gaps. And this can go two different directions. One could be the idea that once he was pulled in the world, it created around the concepts of the video game, and it had to fill in gaps to keep the logic going. If you're building the game strictly around what people experience, it's not going to fulfill an entire world, and thus it'll be broken and, yes, have areas that have holes that will fall apart. So the world itself filled in those gaps. And those are the things that he's going, wait, I don't remember that. Well, it had to create the logic for it to flow. The other theory that I had, and I think I'm getting more and more now with the idea of Alavenus/Dena manipulating everything, is potentially this goddess, Alavenus, upon experiencing what this player made with Lufus's character, was entertained by it so much that Alavenus, or this other goddess that could potentially not be Alavenus, it's just they're making themselves into it, some sort of deity, seen what this player did and said, that's extremely entertaining. What he did in that game was so entertaining. Let me make a world around what he did there. And then I'm going to take him and I'm going to stick him in there and say, keep entertaining me. I think that's where it's going. And again, because it has to fill in the logic, that's why everything is so puzzling to him. He found out in this episode, and he was doing this before, like when he first arrived there, he's like, yeah, I've read everything about this world. I know everything about this world. I read all the books. I love the lore, everything. Now I get to experience it with my own two eyes. I get to, breathe in the world, see it with my own eyes, everything, fly around in it. But he keeps running into oddities. I don't remember that. And here he's learning something else. Wait, the devil folk are created and they have to kill people in order to exist. And then when they're destroyed, they turn to mana that then feels magic, which then creates war and more bloodshed. It's this constant cycle of death. What? I don't remember that. It's a concept of the magic, the mechanics of the world he doesn't even know about. And that's typically sort of something that's addressed really early on in a lot of these stories and these settings is, where does mana come from? Does it come from the earth itself? Does it come from all life? Does everything have mana in it? Such and such. So I think that's where the world, the concepts that was created for him to be in, is having to fill in the gaps. And I think the Devil King kind of sucks that he was cut off, because it felt like he wanted to tell him more. This is whole scenario from the goddess and yap. He's just He's just yapping away. You all knew that this was a stupid fight to go kill Lufus. You should have left Lufus to kill me. Why? You know that something was off. And then sure enough, I bet Dena was like, Libra, we gotta go back there. We gotta go save our boss. And then Dena's like, yes, good. Got here just in time. He didn't reveal too much stuff. He's such a sussy little bastard. I love it. But again, it all plays into my theory. I think this is going to turn into being a world that is fabricated around what this player was able to achieve. And then from beyond there, it's really just, I think, some sort of god or goddess that is just having a heyday. Just watching him just do whatever he does. And now they decide to bring in Sei. I think they realized, okay, we got Lufus, we got the Devil King. The two of them are building up. They're getting strong. We need another party. Similar to before, the before that entertaining fight that was back here, which it seems like it's implying that it's trying to have that fight again. That was so entertaining. It's almost like it's trying to happen again. Well, we have Lufus. We have the Devil King. We don't have a hero. We don't have a hero. All these other heroes that are in this world right now, they're too weak. We need to bring a new hero in here. So they're bringing in Sei. And that's what comes into my theory with Sei himself, because it does introduce him as like a 17-year-old. Seems like he has this desire to become a police officer like his dad. Seems like he has a desire to help people, which I'm sure the goddess was, probably all for the idea of bringing someone like that in this world. They bring him in. It implies through Lufus that because they summoned a hero, they succeed at summoning a hero, that he has the hero class, just like this other player did. And that's something that apparently boosts his stat build. Like, he got so many stats. He got strong super fast that it pretty much overshadowed his previous class. This is an extremely powerful class. And it's something that nobody else has really had before. So it's implying that Sei will get strong. He's weak right now, but it's implying that he's going to get really, really strong. And it also gets into the idea of the barrier that was put up onto the actual town, which implies to me he's probably going to sacrifice himself at some point in order to possibly help Lufus to do whatever he's going to do. I think that's it's kind of foreshadowing there, a little bit of flagging there that he's going to eventually at some point use his ability. But yeah, introducing him, bringing him into the picture, I think it is kind of building itself up to be a three-way fight between the three of them. Whether it's going to probably be Lufus taking down Orm, and then at some point Sei is going to come in thinking that he has to take down Lufus because that's what Lufus did in the past. It kind of sucked at some point when he was building himself up. The king specifically addressed Sei and said, please defeat the Devil King and the Conqueror. I'm like, I was hoping that they would work together, but nope. It's like it's trying to get Sei involved with taking down Lufus. But it was interesting. I think the big interesting thing about this trio is the way they're kind of playing this out. There's such a huge gap between them, and yet it doesn't really want to paint it as any of them as being the bad guy. Sei is an innocent party being brought in. He has a sense of justice. He wants to help people, but what is he going to do? He's going to eventually get strong enough because of this class. But are these two even an enemy of him? The Devil King's fully knowledgeable about what's going on. He doesn't want to be involved, but he's having to play into the scenario of the goddess. So he has all full knowledge, but he's just playing as a puppet. He has no choice. They have to do this, otherwise they die. It was interesting at some point that specifically Lufus questioned him, saying that he was managing the devil folk, implying that he wasn't one of them, that he was just appointed to do this. Again, that plays in the idea that he's fulfilling the role the goddess wants, but still. And then, of course, we have the third party, which is Lufus. And Lufus is sort of coming in as, yes, they're a player in this whole scenario, a very key role in this scenario, but similar to Sei, is knowledgeable of the world, but not knowledgeable about what's going on. Is completely clueless about what exactly is going on. And it does make me really kind of curious as to if Dena ever is going to reveal that stuff to Lufus. It doesn't seem like Dena wanted Lufus to know, and it seems like they allowed the Devil King to speak a little bit too much, but potentially Dena might have wanted him to say that much. Maybe they wanted a little bit of intrigue in there. Again, something to make it entertaining. It's all for the goddess's entertainment. What else did I miss? There's just so much in this episode. Holy crap. The info, the info that the Devil King just completely drops on everything. I did like when Luffy first met the Devil King. He specifically calls her Alcor, the bringer of death to all that face her. And it was cool because, yes, they implied that, yeah, they get into a fight. They start going crazy. And he points out that you're not even taking me seriously. Am I not a threat to you? And points out that the one that fought the heroes a long time ago was extremely powerful. Also notes that he fought her before. That was an interesting thing. You defeated me in the past. Interesting. I don't think they ever implied that the two of them crossed swords. Again, because Luffy, back in the story, rose to power, conquered everything, but ignored the Devil King. He even pointed out the idea the Devil King was a joke character in the thing. Like, that was supposed to be the end game, but everybody was focused on Luffy. And then that's why he created the whole scenario of the heroes overtaking him, because it was boring. And that was like the whole funny thing about this fight was like they go crazy on each other. He's like, crap, I'm actually going to lose. This guy's way too strong. Actually, I'm sorry, what was the translation? The Devil King is too stonk. Nerf. Crunchyroll, really? Why did you put this in the show? Within like 5 years, that meme's going to be completely forgotten. Stop putting memes and jokes in translations that aren't even attributed to the original. Anyways, sorry, I get in side tangent here. He's so strong. He's like, crap, I'm actually apologizing for having seen him as a joke character. But yeah, he seems to think that Luffy has essentially been nerfed. Something must have changed him. This is not the destined time. I'm not supposed to come and fight you yet. You're not able to overcome the goddess's scenario yet. Like, he's acknowledging something happened to Luffy. And yes, sure enough, when Dena finally shows up and says, oh yeah, I made up all that crap in order to gain their trust, and yeah, it didn't go that way. But he says, you knew that Luffy was weakened. Did you do it? No, only a goddess could do that. Big grin and leaves. So it implies that Luffy could potentially be more strong. And again, he's level 1000 right now. It almost like it's implying that, similar to what Megress and Merrick has faced with the curse from the Devil King, that Luffy has something like that applied to him that's holding back his power. And that potentially could be because the goddess just wants Luffy not to be too strong, because it wouldn't be entertaining. If Luffy was full power, they would have easily taken down the Devil King, and then the Devil Folk would have been gone. And then peace in the world. The whole world rises up. The humans don't have to worry about Devil Folk anymore. No longer entertaining. Purposely nerfing Luffy. The OP main character is literally nerfed to make the story more fun. What a big shock there. That's kind of a surprising turn of event that you don't typically see with a lot of these stories. I mean, he's still OP, which does sort of build a lot of concern that I have for the story going forward, is with, so far, Luffy and Orm being so overpowered, like they literally look like they were going to destroy the world. Everybody's like looking at them like, what the hell? What was it? The waifu girl for Sei's party's like literally going, did they expect us to fight these guys? What the hell are they thinking? We can't do this. They've literally showed the two most powerful beings in the entire world right there fight. What's next in this story? Like, this is the big boss fight. The only thing, again, I think of is that Sei's going to level up like crazy, and then he's going to become sort of a threat to Luffy. But it's like, what's the point of the story going forward? I mean, the only other option here is that the vampire hero wasn't cursed. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I did love when Cross was like, you say the goddess orchestrated all this? And he's like, well, yeah. You had to have thought it was weird that you all went and took down Luffy. Like, you took down Luffy, who could have easily took out me. Why? Didn't it seem odd to you? Somebody's obviously orchestrating all this stuff. And it's like, oh, yep, there it is right there, kind of pointing that out. And Luffy is like, yeah, sure enough, Megress and all them are just haunted by that decision. It was a massive mistake. Why would they do that? It makes no sense. And again, Luffy was somebody that was freeing people. They weren't harming anybody. Something had to have felt off. And again, that's that element there that I think is the world itself trying to fill in the gaps. It doesn't make logical sense why they took down Luffy. We got to fill in those gaps. Oh yeah, now you think about it, that is a little weird. It's a little weird. Sei's party was so dysfunctional. Have the waifu girl that just completely breaks like through the middle of that fight. Have the cat guy that's a sword saint that likes to catch mice. The vice captain that translates for him. Cross, who's just kind of very knowledgeable, but totally out of his comfort zone. They even brought up Gaunt's again. I didn't think they were ever going to bring up Gaunt's again, but they brought up him again. He was the guy from that first town where Megris was at. Anyways, I think I covered everything. What a crazy episode. Really, really interesting. The fight itself was really cool. The animation was pretty slick. The rock music was so freaking good. I love that. It's so rare to have anime have rock music. So it's like, yes, get in there. Rockin' music and everything. It was super good. Some really good Sakuga, great animation in there. I'm curious what we're going to do going forward, though, because we do have, I'm assuming, 2 more episodes. I can see this show going for 13 episodes. I don't see it going for more. I don't think we have an announcement for it being 2 core. Unfortunately, there's no Blu-ray listings yet, so we don't know how many episodes it's really planned for. I can see it going for 13 episodes, but I'm kind of curious if we're going to end up running into Virgo and Parthenos, which they brought up initially. If we're going to go meet those two, how we're going to wrap up this season. But I'd be curious what we're going to really do for the final episodes, or if they're going to go see the vampire girl. They brought her up out of nowhere. They're not going to go see her yet. I'm really curious. This feels like it's a finale, so I'm very curious as how they're going to wrap this season up. Really, really, truly curious, but we'll see. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content, you want to support John more, become a member. Until next time, take care. By the way, source material readers, I don't need answers to my speculation.